Hi there. For this video, we'll be talking about synthetic division. To discuss this, let's dive right in to an example. Let's have x cubed minus 7x squared plus 13x minus 6. Divide this by x minus 2. So the first step in synthetic division is to write out the coefficients of the dividend. So first note that the coefficient of x cubed is 1. So we will have 1 out here, then negative 7, 13, and then negative 6. Then we write out a small box out here. The number inside here will be determined by our divisor. So we have x minus 2 is equal to 0. If we equate to 0, we'll have x be equal to 2 by moving this one out here. So the number inside this one will be 2. After that, we draw a line out here. And we are now ready to do the synthetic division process. So the first step is we bring down this first number out here. So we'll have 1. And then we multiply 2 and 1 out here. So we'll have 2 times 1 will give us 2. Then we add this, negative 7 plus 2 will give us negative 5. Then we repeat this process until we arrive at the last number. So 2 times negative 5 will give us negative 10. 13 plus negative 10 will give us 3. Then lastly, 2 times 3 will give us 6. Negative 6 plus 6 will give us 0. So we have now obtained a series of numbers. From here, we note that this last number out here is the remainder. The first 3 numbers out here represent the coefficient of our quotient. Since the degree of the dividend is 3, what we do is we subtract 1 out here to obtain the degree of the first term of the quotient. In this case, it will be x squared. Then next we'll have x raised to 1. Then this will be x raised to 0. And so our quotient is given by x squared minus 5x plus 3. And that is the answer for this problem. Let's try out this next example. Let's have 2x squared minus 4x plus 1 divided by x minus 1. Again, we write out the coefficients of the dividend. So we'll have 2, negative 4, and 1. Write the small box out here. Equate the divisor to 0. So we'll have x minus 1 equals 0. That will give us x equal 1. So we'll have 1 out here. Write out this division line. And we start the synthetic division process. Bring down the first number. So we'll have 2. Multiply. So we'll have 1 times 2. We'll obtain 2 out here. Negative 4 plus 2. That will give us negative 2. Then 1 times negative 2. That will give us negative 2 out here. And lastly, 1 plus negative 2 will give us negative 1. So again, this last number out here is the remainder. And the first 2 numbers out here are the coefficient of our quotient. Since the degree of our dividend is 2, what we do is we subtract 1 to obtain the degree out here will be x raised to 1, and this will be x raised to 0. So our final answer is given by 2x minus 2 with a remainder of negative 1. Or we can write it as 2x minus 2 minus 1 all over x minus 1 if we treat it as a fraction. Let's have this one last example. If we have 5x raised to 4 minus 1 divided by x plus 1. So from here, we might rush into writing out the coefficients into 5 and negative 1, but that is incorrect. Take note that there are actually terms in between these, since we can write 1 as x raised to 0. So we still don't know the coefficient for the degrees x raised to 1, x raised to 2, and x raised to 3. But note that we can write this one as 5x raised to 4 plus 0x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x raised to 1 minus 1 minus 1x raised to 0. So there are 3 zeros in between. So taking note of that, our coefficients will be 5, 0, 0, 0, and negative 1. We write the small square out here. Equating this to 0, we'll have x plus 1 equals 0 will give us x equal negative 1. So we'll have negative 1 out here. Writing out the line. And we can now start the synthetic division process. So first, we bring this one down. So we'll have 5 out here. And then, negative 1 times 5. That will give us negative 5 out here. Adding this to 0 plus negative 5 will give us negative 5. And then we'll repeat this process until we arrive at the last number. So negative 1 times negative 5, that will be 5. 0 plus 5 will give us 5. Negative 1 times 5 will give us negative 5. 0 plus negative 5 will give us negative 5. And lastly, negative 1 times negative 5 will give us 5. Negative 1 plus 5 will give us 4. And so we have now arrived at the coefficients of the quotient with the remainder of 4. Remainder. Since the degree of our dividend is 4, we subtract 1, so this will be 5x cubed, negative 5x squared, 5x raised to 1, and negative 5x raised to 0. So our final answer is given by 5x cubed minus 5x squared plus 5x minus 5 with a remainder of 4, or we can write it as plus 4 all over x plus 1. And that is how we apply synthetic division. So I hope you learned something from this video. Feel free to comment down below any comments, suggestions, and recommendations that you have for the future videos. And so that's it, and that is all for this video.